Spoiler alert, do not watch this next interview with young children in the room. If you're a parent and your family celebrates Christmas, chances are you are eagerly planning your Santa moments right now. The plate of cookies, a few carrots for the reindeer. But how much of this orchestrated magic will you miss when the children stop believing? Here to tell us more about what is really wrapped up in the Santa myth is WSJ Pittsburgh Bureau Chief Clare Ansberry. Hi, Clare. Great to see you.
Hi.
So, Clare, as parents, we complain about all the extra work and planning, but we secretly love that our children believe in Santa, don't we?
We do, because we did at their age, too. And so much of our happiest childhood memories are of Christmas and all the excitement and the planning leading up to it. And we want to recreate that for our kids. And their own excitement is contagious. And, you know, it's about the only time of the year that adults can play and pretend and enter into that sort of magical world.
And what does this belief represent for us about childhood?
It's that innocence, that time of innocence. You know, they're living in a world where everything is possible and everyone is good. And, you know, it's the time of year where a jolly guy can come down the chimney and travel the world in one night and fulfill every child's dream. And when they don't believe in Santa, it's sort of an acknowledgement that, you know, they're growing up and they've crossed a threshold and they're entering into the world that we inhabit. And that's a little sad.
Absolutely. And here's where I'm running into a bit of a problem, though, because my 9-year-old still fully believes in Santa, but he keeps asking for more and more extravagant presents each year. And when I tell him, well, you know, that might be a little pricey for Santa, that $650 Lego that you want, he insists that, well, Santa doesn't have to pay for anything. His elves make them. So are there, you know, some parents who are kind of relieved when the children finally stop believing in this part of the myth?
There are, and it does get complicated. I was talking to one mom whose 10-year-old wanted a hoverboard, and which is pricey, and she's not even sure it's safe. And so and it was the only thing on his list, and she really didn't want him to be crushed. So she wrote a letter from Santa, which the elf on the shelf delivered, and it said, "Look, I've tried for a week to make this, but I'm just not happy with it." And said, "Is there anything else you may want?" And he offered 2 suggestions, and which luckily her son, you know, liked one of them. But she said, you know, it's a lot of work making the magic happen, but she also realizes that, you know, this time won't last forever, so she feels it's worth the effort.
That's brilliant. I might steal that. I might steal that letter from the elf on the shelf. Now, Clare, at what age do most children stop believing in Santa, and do parents often not realize when their children have figured it out?
Yes, on the latter, but they usually start doubting in between 7 and 8, and that's when they start noticing words like believe. You know, an adult will say, "I believe in Santa," and that word believe is somewhat subjective, so there's some sort of doubt and nuance there. And, you know, parents don't often realize that their kids are doubting or not believing, because part of it is they don't want to know. The parents don't want to know. They want to keep their kids as young and innocent as possible for as long as possible. And sometimes the kids don't let on because they're afraid they won't get as many presents or any presents from Santa.
Smart kids. I know that I sometimes worry a little bit that my children will think I've been lying to them and will no longer trust me when they finally figure out the truth. Do I have reason to worry about that?
I don't think so, but you know, that is a concern of a lot of parents. But most of the people that I talked with, the experts and psychologists, say that disappointment for the kids is generally short-lived, and that, you know, having a myth or a tradition that involves someone who's trying to make people happy and is in fact based on a real person, Saint Nick, who was known for giving gifts and money to the poor, you know, is not such a bad thing. And I also talked to one girl who was 11 who found out, and she said she didn't regret not knowing sooner, and that she was happy that she believes it so long, and, you know, credited her parents for doing such a good job of creating that sort of magical time for her.
All right, thank you so much for that, Clare. We are doing our best to keep the myth going in our household. Thanks for that.